Hi, I'm Jeff Clark Jr., and this is Art and Underdogs. Today I'm joined by Darlene Cordero, an award winning art director and founder of Cordero Design, an art design studio based out of Brooklyn, New York. Darlene has worked with some of the most iconic brands in the world, including Paramount Plus, Comedy Central, MTV, BET, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, and many, many more. Here's a quick look at some of her work. Darlene, welcome to the show.
What's up? It's so good to be here. I'm just excited to dive right in.
Oh, yeah. You see what I'm rocking today, right?
Oh my god, I'm so happy. Even so wait, let me rewind. I was happy to see some of your other podcasts with some other friends of ours, colleagues, and always think of you, especially with the Eagles Super Bowl. I was like, this is perfect timing. And then they win.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I was hyped. I was
I
hyped.
know.
Where did you watch the Super Bowl? Were you home
Oh,
or?
I was home with my little guy because he actually was born down. I call it south because I'm from Staten Island, but he's born down south, so we were excited to just sit at home and watch it because he's go birds. It's
Oh yeah,
fun.
oh yeah, go
So
Birds, go Birds. Oh my gosh, such a good game.
it was a massacre.
It's
Yeah.
such a good game. Yeah. I was like, oh man, we're
Uh,
playing Mahomes. He's gonna be on our butt all night. He's gonna be scoring like crazy. And man, our defense was just killing it,
they,
just like
they he
stifling them.
couldn't do shit, and it
Nope.
was real. Sorry, it was. Can I curse? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Everyone asks that. Can I curse? Can I curse? Yeah, you're good.
Well, you don't want to. You want to make sure you can. You're good with your
No, you're
podcast.
good. Hey.
Thank you. Yeah, so it was great. It was a great game. I part of you was like, "Oh my god, all right, huge feat for football, three-peat," but then you cannot beat an underdog. You cannot. That's it.
Love
Not
it.
when you love it. You can't. And that's exactly what they came in with their defense, and they wanted to do it, and it was just great to watch because yeah, they couldn't respond. Zero. Zilch.
Yeah.
Till after the half.
Yeah.
It was glorious.
The underdogs came in and
That's
dominated.
it. Yep. Go green.
Gotta
We were
love it.
like I
It's like
mean,
a
part go ahead.
I was gonna say it's like a Rocky story?
100%. It was meant to be. I mean,
Yeah.
and now, well, we were just talking about friends that are going to the parade tomorrow, but
Mhm.
I'm just like, wow, that's like they're gonna be flipping cars like burgers.
Yeah, and grease them poles over there, I tell
Oh
you.
my god.
So this will air, and premiere later in March,
Mhm.
but, it's okay
All good.
because
It's still
they're gonna be Super Bowl champions, world champions for the
for a
rest
whole
of the year.
year.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
So you and I, we met at the Sci-Fi Channel back in the day.
Mhm.
I was a young rookie in the game.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
yeah.
and we kept in touch over all these years, just social media and just messaging. Um, you've had a very successful career in arts and entertainment, and so it'll be nice to catch up and hear about your experience over the years where we didn't really keep in touch.
Mhm. Cool.
Um, so you founded Cordero Design. Can you tell everyone what you do and what services you provide?
Yeah, I wanna step back because yeah, we did meet at Sci-Fi. And just to talk on the career path, it's like I feel like all roads either lead to 1515 Broadway or 30 Rock. And we met at 30 Rock, and it's so incestuous, that's all, because even though we weren't in touch, we knew of people that we were working with in different places because I worked with Henry at MTV and then Chris and these guys, and you knew him at NBC at the 30 Rock. So it's like really cool how it's just a good pool of cool people that you
Yeah,
always
yeah.
keep in touch with.
And for the people that don't know about our industry, or 1515 is the Viacom building, basically MTV and all that, on Times Square, and then 30 Rock is NBC, right?
Hmm.
Um, and Chris Gallagher and Henry Pena, these are artists in the industry that we know, great guys. But I want to know more about like Cordero Design and how that came about. If you
Oh,
can,
sure.
yeah.
So, I mean, pretty much for that, I started it in 2020. Uh, and what I consider myself is a creative director, an art director, designer, hands-on. I love to sketch from the beginning to understanding how the whole production could come together. My focus is in entertainment. Obviously, a lot of the companies I work for are all entertainment brands and icons in the industry. And I develop creative for 360 media campaigns from start to final production. And I enjoy doing everything. I started my career in print. I love broadcast. I love working with motion designers. I've done a lot of digital campaigns, and I've been doing some Broadway now as well, which is kind of interesting. But that's what
Okay.
Cordero Design Services, all sorts of key art and entertainment.
What made you want to start your own company? Because, like you said, you've worked for so many big names. What made you want to just go out on your own and start your own company?
Um, I think what really did it for me was having my son. So he came into the picture in 2018, and we were so excited to. We adopted Giovanni. We waited forever, so I was not going to miss a heartbeat. I was all in. So the first year, I had taken the year off just to be with him. And
Yeah.
then when I came back to work in 2019, in September, right? Because he was a full year. And then I was at Sci-Fi again. And
Okay.
um,
Was that when COVID hit?
yes,
Okay.
so I got into the office in September. And then hazmat team comes in, I swear, because we were one of the first cases at at NBC on that floor. New floor,
Oh
all
wow.
redesigned. It was so beautiful, and open floor plan, cool little pits that everybody could meet at, and you had your own little elevated desk, all this, but it was all open space.
Yeah.
And it turned out the VP of marketing, his dad was the New York and New Jersey. God, if I can remember this because it made it on the front page of the news, that he had gotten the first big case of COVID that was covered, that everybody
Oh
was starting to
wow.
panic about. So then he comes in and they're like, "You were with your dad. You're his son. Oh my God." So they all came in. Everybody take your laptops. You're all going to work from home. And we all left, and we were one of the first ones to get cleared out of the whole building because everybody was going to start working remote. And that was March in 2019. And
Hmm.
then from that, long story short, yeah, we were all working remote. So then after that, I just started my own company because that's the way it was going. And I was lucky enough to be set up at home. I wasn't scrambling. I was already comfortable because I'd been doing it. So it
Yeah.
worked out great. So you lean into it and you become an asset. That's what people need. They needed you home, and I was all set up, so it worked out great.
Nice. So you've won some awards over the years. Can you tell us what they are and what projects they were for?
Yeah, I can't remember everything, but a
That's a
lot of,
good thing.
yeah,
That's
right?
a lot of awards. No.
I know. A lot of, no, I'm not. I'm very humble. I'm
No,
very
I know you
blessed
are.
for
I know
all of
you are.
the cool
I'm
people
joking.
I work with. Thank you. But what the first ones that you always remember are like I worked on the movie awards with MTV, and it was something. I worked with Frank Ockenfels. I worked with Steven Sagmeister on some other MTV VMA projects. So,
Okay.
that's pretty cool to have these amazing people that help in the process and winning these awards because it takes a tribe. It's not just the one person. I appreciate people that list every person who's done something that's touched it, because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
important. But uh I won, this is a cool one, in the Lima, the licensing show. This was something I was really proud of because I just stepped into doing consumer products, didn't know a lot about it, but the I worked with Animal Planet, and they won best licensed brand of the year for licensing international in Las
Mm.
Vegas. So that was a blast when you get to go to a nice trade show in Las Vegas, and what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And then a lot of cool stuff at Sci-Fi too. I don't know, when we were there, I was working with William Lee doing some really cool
Yeah.
projects on Battlestar Galactica and Sanctuary and Eureka and Ghost Hunters.
Oh my god. I
Yeah,
remember.
then yeah, right?
Yeah, you
Those
mean
all those when you got sent this really cool kit. Now all media kits seem to be like, I don't know, DJ Khaled opening sneakers or some shit. He's the only one that gets these crazy like packages, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, Comedy Central, cool campaigns for South Park and Amy Schumer and stuff like
Man,
that.
so many
Mhm.
awesome projects.
Mhm. A
That's
lot of
so
good
cool.
stuff. Thank you. Yeah.
Have you ever had any doubts that this is what you want to keep doing?
Um I mean, everybody always has some doubts and, what's going to keep you going. Yeah, of course, especially at MTV. When I first started there, it was like a fear, like you were so disposable and you were going to get replaced at any minute if you didn't come up with the next best cool logo. But I don't know, you just keep that's it. You just keep doing it and you don't
Yeah.
believe the hype. You just believe in yourself. So that's been tough, but, because you always doubt yourself. But I think that's what helps you push that creative further if you could
Yeah.
really try to get over that?
And yeah, it's very competitive too, right?
Yeah,
Like the
exactly,
industry.
that's
Artists
exactly.
are very competitive, yeah.
Yeah, and I think at this point too, it's like it's about the people who you network with that because
Mhm.
you could push the pixels, honey, but you got to deal with the person, and I think
Yeah,
that's
that's
what's
true.
really helping all of us now. I'm leaning into that. I always enjoyed being a mentor or having five people in the office bullshit and exchanging ideas and just talking openly and not feeling so
Yeah,
protective of like why like
yeah.
it's a
Well, because there's
community.
some snakes out there, Darlene, you know.
Oh,
You
I
know
know,
this. There's some
I
snakes in the grass out
know.
there.
God. It's
You gotta
true,
be
it's
very,
true.
very careful.
Yeah, this is
Um,
true.
how do you think the industry has changed over the years, in your opinion?
Um, I mean, I think a lot of it obviously has changed just because of, the Mac. If I could go way back, I mean, I started when we were just doing stat machines and mechanicals and clip
Mm,
art, and when I first started at MTV, we were just Xeroxing everything and playing around on the color Xerox machine, but we were making art. We were making unique mosaics and
mhm.
and collages and stuff like that. And then we were scanning it. Then fast forward, you get your Mac, you're scanning it in, and now you're manipulating this stuff. And now you can just recreate all of that stuff. So I think the biggest thing for me that's changed is that tangible thing. I can sit here all day on this and on this thing, but are you getting dirty? Are you
Yeah,
pushing some paper around? Are you really, I don't know, touching paper and
yeah.
markers and pens and stuff like that? So that's the biggest thing. But
Okay.
in addition to learning how to use these tools to push that and save time to push the creative even further.
Yeah. Yes, I see a lot of these companies using like I forget the name of the websites, but they're tons of pre-animated um, animations.
Hmm.
Whereas back, when I first started in the early 2000s, everything had to be animated from scratch.
Yep.
There were no websites you could just pull animations from and plop them into your existing design and just push it.
Yeah.
Everything is kind of pre-made now. It's changing a lot. What do you feel, or how do you feel about AI?
Well, I mean, with AI, personally, I'm fascinated with it and then terrified because I
Yeah.
I feel for like we're pretty advanced. We know what's going on in our laptops on the most part, right? We know how to do things, motion and capabilities and design and
Hmm.
Photoshop and all the great Adobe programs or whatever, but my parents don't even have a smartphone. Okay?
What do they have?
Their daughter to make every appointment, right? Or like because think about it. It's just the
Uh,
advancement of how it's leaving people behind. So
it
that's
is.
what
Yeah.
that's what scares me because I feel like I'm pretty on point, and I still could learn a heck of a lot. And
Me
I
too.
see how my son is using it even in first grade on his devices
Mhm.
and the screen time. So that's a whole different thing. But when it comes to AI, it's like, listen, it's like a tool. It's going to help you and it's going to do all these things if you know how to use it. But it's a little different right now than it was when, like, the Mac exploded onto the scene, and we went from Atari to home computers to this, like, this is a different thing now because it's just too fast, and
I
again,
know.
leaving people behind is what I'm scared about, or it catapulting and only a granular of the society knows how to use it. I mean, ChatGPT's coming out. It's like, "What?"
Yeah.
And people don't even understand what AI is, and I'm like, "You better jump on, man, because this is
Yeah.
really it's catapulting right now."
I know
But
I need to jump on. I'm kinda being old school about it. It's like, ugh. But, it's almost like it's it's hard to accept it because 'cause I'm just like, it feels like cheating in a way, like,
it does.
because I've seen the beginning of everything, right? You have too,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like you're making everything from scratch, like you said, on the Xerox Xerox machine.
Mhm.
Like, you're making everything from scratch, and it's like you're really being creative, like it's yours. And now people just type in a couple words and you get whatever you it's like it just feels like cheating almost. I don't
Yeah.
know, but interesting.
I feel you, like, real quick story,
Mhm,
my oldest brother is he's a special effects makeup artist, right? And he's worked on movies, but he was a sculptor. He is a sculptor. With his hands, clay. He would
mhm.
have to make the armatrons, everything. Well, he worked in Coraline. Everything is stop animation. He's done it like that. He did not want to jump on it. And to this day, I'm like, man, but if only you sharpened your skills with your sculpting and that you're a craftsman. You're different. So I see
Mhm.
it like as such. It's just another cutting edge tool to really push your creativity forward if you know how to use it and not be scared of it.
Yeah.
So for him, if you jumped on it, where would you be now with knowing the craft of how it should look in the actual turnaround? Because then you have a better perspective on light source and actuality, gravity, because you know how it should be when you're working in these programs. But you didn't even give the program a shot to take that guy and to do it because then you could have been that far advanced in knowing how you could have done what could you have advanced animation, stop animation with, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
I
interesting.
get that.
Yeah,
I keep seeing this Figma everywhere. I'm like, "Figma, Figma. This is
I know.
free." All these new all these new programs, and I think that one's like a web-based program too, right? Are you familiar with Figma at
Mhm.
all? Yeah?
Figma and well, I think my world's more of like taking Mid Journey to the 10th, you know,
Yeah.
way out there because it helps with just advancing your concept.
Yeah.
It really it helps you in that respect of really being able to sell your idea quicker,
True.
right?
That's true.
But yeah, you still, I mean, you really could sell it, but I could still tell. I could tell AI
Oh,
and
yeah. I
oh
can totally
god,
tell.
yeah. So it's not there, but you could capture the essence. This is the cinematography, this is the feel, this is the framing, this is the storyboard, this is how you can get those mood boards to really sell your movie through
Mhm.
or whatever the idea is that you're trying to pitch to your client,
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know. But definitely I've seen it work wonders in film for sure. I mean, I've had a client where he got his script down to 90 pages, which he had it forever. It was a novel. Then it went to 120. Then, with the help of AI, curating it down to 90. And then from that 90, we were able to extract all the good bits that we wanted to put into a sizzle. I mean, it takes a lot of human reading to
Editing
actually,
and
to editing to
yeah.
really feel it because I had to read it to feel it. And then, but to be able to take those snippets and then use them as your prompts to start creating the storyboards for those scenes, forget it. What would have taken us months was done in weeks
Yeah.
just to be able to go back and forth. I know, what a client to say, hey, here's the
It's
idea.
crazy.
This is the opening scene. This is how the shot's going to look. And we even designed the characters in AI. Like, we
Yeah,
just prompted what we wanted them to look like. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
very cool. Do you think there's gonna be artists in 10 to 15 years after being in the industry for as long as we have? Do you
Yeah, 100%.
think so?
There's always gonna be artists. I mean, you could look back on, all right, there was Cribs, there was Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. There's always going to be something that's going to highlight whatever that is. If they weren't on, I don't know, some Disney show or Real World, they're now influencers on TikTok, and they're their own creators. And this is what we're going to see going forward. So it'll be interesting to see what is an artist.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Because that's even going to evolve. An artist back in the day was just a guy drawing on a cave, right? He could have been an artist. And then all of these different movements in art history where every artist was pushing it. And we're just at this really interesting moment of how art is created. But they'll
Yeah.
always, always, always are going to be artists for sure, I think.
Yeah, I feel like it's you mentioned this kind of before that everything is evolving so fast, faster than I've ever seen it evolve before. These past 10 years, I just feel like it's just getting more and more insane with the technology. Um, we've seen a lot in our lifetime,
Mm-hmm.
and we're like what halfway through, hopefully.
Yeah, right.
But we
Just
I
keep
feel like
going.
yeah, this like our in our lifetime, think of our parents' generations, like what they've seen, but I feel like our generation has seen so much in technological advances. Do you know what I mean?
100%, yeah.
Can you imagine what the next 15, 20 years is going to be?
I don't even know. I mean, it's gonna be wild because, yeah, we are, first of all, we are the last of, like, human original code input, right? Because I didn't grow up with a cell phone,
No, me neither.
right? We didn't
No.
grow up with a cell phone. I didn't get it until I was, older working,
Yeah.
and my son is gonna grow up with it, so that's a completely different thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of wild because we are that last of the human input, first to deal with all of this technology, and it
Yes.
just going super fast. Yeah.
Super fast. So what inspires you to keep going?
That little guy. I have
The
to,
sun. Yep.
yeah, my little guy, Giovanni. He's great. He's so curious. So that's what keeps you reignited.
Yeah.
I could say I want to be like semi-retired, but this kid's got me refired. And like, what are we doing? Because I have to stay on point because of him. I don't know. I see these kids in this screen. I need to know what they're doing. They can't get them blocked off of YouTube. You have to control what they're watching. It's just, I call my brother and I'm like, I have a problem. He is addicted to Minecraft, right? And my brother is like, "Oh my god, just saying the word Minecraft triggers me because I hear that fucking pick," because his son played Minecraft like crazy too, and he's like, "All I
I
hear
hear
is
that.
that I hear that I hear the pick digging," and he's like, "Yeah." And you can say, "Oh, it's cool," he learns all these cool skills because I was trying to tell my spouse, I'm like, "Listen, it's like a digital Boy Scouts or something. I don't know. They
I
figure out
know.
how to do all these cool things and he's learning stuff, but at the same time, I shut it off and shut up, and he's like hysterical crying. So it's a thing. But
Yeah, you gotta be careful. My daughter, she's into coding classes now,
hmm
and she's into editing. She does the CapCut editing.
okay.
She like creates her own Roblox videos and does like editing in CapCut. And she's learning Photoshop. It's like this new generation. I didn't have a computer until I was like a freshman in college.
Oh
Like
my
it's
gosh, yeah.
insane.
Yeah. But what I find interesting with AI now, like say for example, she's learning how to do coding. And I'm like,
Mhm.
that's the thing that becomes a challenge in my mind of like, well, what's actually going to be necessary for us to really know? And
Mhm.
that's
True.
why right?
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm not gonna need coding. I'm gonna be able to input something and say to do it, like you have all these capabilities now to how to build these things that you didn't have before.
Yeah.
And So that's why I feel blessed that we have such a I have, design,
Yeah.
because you can't teach me that. Like, for example, we could easily be replaced with doing a massive dump on content. I go to a photo shoot, I have all this content, I shot all this stuff, and I have to sit with my editor to look through everything. We could easily put it through something and say, "Hey, just edit it to this," right?
Hmm.
So now I don't need that person or that team of editors to do log lines and to do this shot was good and they said this here, blah, blah, blah. No, I can easily just run it through an app and create all that stuff. So that eliminates that person. But the challenge with AI is that creative eye. It can't do that like the way you could see things, the way I could see things. So, for
Yeah.
example, we're going to do all this editing and the computer can't figure out the difference between your head and a stop sign, say. So they're never going to reframe everything correctly. You
It's
still
true.
need that human to go in to say, all right, that's a stop sign. And we need to have it in this vertical format. I don't even know because that's even changing. Because look at Instagram. It's no longer really a square. It's like everything is becoming,
I know.
they're trying to figure out what it is that works for people. Like, is it this horizontal format or is it a
16 by
vertical?
9.
Yeah, exactly. I'm out for 60 by 9. But that's what I'm saying. You can't replace that human original creativity of like, nope, we have to do this. This angle should be cropped like this, or,
Yeah.
so to your daughter, let's get her.
um, do you have any advice for the younger generation coming up who are inspired to be artists?
Yeah, I think the biggest piece of advice I have is honor your ancestors, know your art history,
Mm.
and become part of it. How do you
Hmm.
wanna make your mark? Yeah, for sure, and, like, be a creator of all good things at this point because there's a lot of garbage. A lot of garbage is gonna be out there, and, let that be your creative passion and follow that. So, basically, know your art history, become part of it, and really try to just do good. What can you do good for your community at this point? Stay relevant and updated, especially in this world, you know?
Stay relevant and stay updated, right?
Nice. Yes, 100%.
Underdog story. Let's get to that underdog segment. First question: where did you grow up?
Staten Island, New York. Great kills.
Mm. What was it like growing up there?
It was very interesting. We were like the first Puerto Rican family in an Irish Italian neighborhood. So that was little rough growing up in some parts, but I still
Ah,
have some of my best friends to this day. The
oh,
only
that's
other
good.
Puerto Rican in the neighborhood, no.
Oh
That's
wow.
funny. Yeah, so that was definitely interesting. It was an Irish Italian neighborhood, so it was pretty wild.
Mm. Yeah, it's Irish. You gotta be careful.
I'm telling you.
um, do you have any crazy stories growing up that you can, share with everyone from your neighborhood?
When we were growing up, we would have, the ice truck would come around, so you around. You'd
Oh
have the good
yeah.
humor guy. When the good humor guy, he had when I was real young, legit the bow tie with the doors
Oh
that had the things. Yeah, and he was because in Staten Island they had a old truck like that. But in our neighborhood, we had the Italian ice guy. Now these guys came around in like this old gigantic Cadillac, like a boat, like that really old gigantic, like you could hide a body in the back because it was so big and you could put a jacuzzi in the back seat with your friends. So they had a hitch on it and they would drag around like one of those square little Italian ice things, flip it
yeah.
open and go into the buckets. And I'll just never forget these guys driving around the neighborhood and then you pull over and everybody crowd around the Cadillac and you get your rainbow ices and stuff. It was great. It was
Oh
fun.
yeah, yeah. We had Jamaican water ice. They used to call it.
Mhm.
It was like Italian water ice, but it was softer.
Mhm.
And it came in a big cup, and you heard that blocks away. All the kids would like run inside, grab some money, just wait for them to come out. So
That's
good.
great.
Um,
That bell, you'd hear it. Ding, 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 like, "Get your money, I want $1." Ugh.
oh, that's a good story. Where did you go to high school?
I went to Newdorp High School in Staten Island. It was, in the middle of Staten Island. It was
Okay.
I loved it because it was one of the only high schools, like, some of the high schools in Staten Island were known for different things. You went to with Susan Wagner, they had a different football and a track team, and Tottenville had this kinda team, and, all
Mm,
the different Curtis had a swim pool and a band. Like, you knew, like, some of the high schools were geared, but you had to either be zoned or you had to go figure out how you were gonna go to those high schools. But I was happy because New Dorp had an art program, and my brothers had gone there, so I was really lucky to have a lot of good art influence in high school. So it was cool.
nice. Yeah, I actually lived right next to Curtis High School.
Oh, okay.
I lived on Staten Island for 10, 11 years, and that was my neighborhood. St. George was my neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
Um, what were you like in high school? Were you shy, outgoing, into
Definitely
sports?
not well, definitely not shy and totally into sports, always into sports. I had ran track, played soccer, played volleyball. Uh, Track was really cool because I had gotten a scholarship because that was always
Oh,
like,
wow.
"All right, how are we gonna pay for college?" I went to the Colgate women's games in Madison Square Garden, and I came 3rd place in the shot put because I
Yeah,
was
look
doing
at
track
you,
and field, yeah.
killing it.
So that helped to get to college,
That's
but I
great.
was I was really involved. I had a lot of between the sports and then, I ran for vice president or whatever in school. That was fun just because I wanted to do stuff with the art club or whatever. I had a lot of fun in high school.
Nice.
Throw a lot of parties down at the beach, Newdorp.
Mm.
We had a good
Um,
time.
tell us about that. What kind of parties were they?
Well, in Newdorp, our playground was we would always go down to Farther Capodanno, and we were always hanging out down in Midland Beach and South Beach, and they didn't give you a
South
hard
Beach, yeah.
time back in the day. We would all pile into the parking lot, and that was just like a thing. You would just like cruise around like something out of a wild movie back in the day. But I would not do it again, but I did have a good time.
Yeah. What type of jobs did you have growing up?
All through, I guess, yeah, I started real young hustling. 10, 12 of my brother delivering newspapers
Mm,
and with Staten Islander. Then I thought I was like a big shot when I got like the Daily News with my brother, so that was like a big fun thing. I Whatever I could do to make money. I was working in bagel stores. I was catering. I was waitressing. I was even a travel agent one summer. I worked
oh, wow.
for a pager company before cell phones came out. When you carried that brick around, I worked
Ah,
with.
yeah.
Yep. So I was like doing sales with that and just doing billing. So it was either drug dealers or
Mhm.
doctors coming in to pay their pager bill. That was
Yeah.
funny.
Did you have a pager?
100%.
Yeah.
Yep, for a good beep call, I designed cards. That was like then I was like, "Okay, I'm getting into design," and then, but yeah, for a good beep call, online beepers. Yep.
I had a blue kinda transparent, beeper. It was a Motorola.
Oh my
I still
gosh,
have
yeah.
it. I have it in my garage somewhere,
Mhm.
waiting to be resurrected.
I know how to take that thing apart and get it reworking and change the batteries in those guys, man. That
Oh,
was
nice.
funny. Yeah, well, that's not no more. That was back in the day.
Yeah,
But,
I think
one
they
of
should
the
bring beepers back. I like that. I like
oh my
beepers.
gosh, right? That's funny.
So in high school, did you know you wanted to be an artist, or was that something that developed later on?
I actually I gotta give a lot of credit to, my 6th grade teacher because she really was the first person to help me know that there was some talent in there. Like, I wasn't we were in a class, I wasn't even sure what I was doing, I was just cutting these cool shapes out and doing stuff in the 6th grade, and she was like, "Hey, check this out," and she showed me Henry Matisse cutouts, and I was like, "Holy shit, I love it, this is great," and that really made me just dive into art history. So that's when it was like, okay, cool. This is what I want to do. And I'd always been attracted to really cool graphics. I always loved like
Yeah.
hang tags on clothing when I went shopping. Like, I was always looking at those graphic elements, and I loved surf gear when I was young, and Oakley thermonuclear. Plus, being from Staten Island, you went down to the shore for the beach, so I always was, like, checking out what surf shops were doing, so I just loved graphics like that.
Yeah, me too,
So
me too.
right?
Interesting, yeah. Have you ever been to Wildwood, New Jersey?
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, we grew up in Asbury Park, Wildwood,
Okay.
Seaside, all that every summer.
I used to love going into the shops on the Wildwood Pier,
Mhm,
where they airbrush T-shirts and hats.
mhm.
You ever go into those?
Oh my
And
gosh,
I could
yeah.
sit there and watch them do that all day long. When I was a kid, I was
I
just, like,
loved it.
so mesmerized by that, the artwork.
So we went down to, I guess it's Point Pleasant,
Okay.
New Jersey, because the little guy, and it's younger. Point Pleasant, yeah, and they have a little aquarium down there, cute little boardwalk. Anyway, that was the first thing. I'm
Mhm.
like, "This just does not change. I want my lifesaver, my life jacket, the red with the big white cross on it. Whatever town I'm in, I'm gonna get it from that place with my little hoodie." But love the graphics, the spray painting, always. And now the iron on, you can do whatever. When we were
Yeah,
get it
yeah.
customized.
Yep, yep.
But
Man.
yeah, I always loved doing all that. So that's what first inspired me was the my sixth grade art teacher to really understand. That's why I'm like a big fan of art history and just know the greats.
Yeah, I agree. And so, in high school, were you into art? Were you in any clubs or
Yeah, in high school there was like it was great because you worked closely with the drama club. So
Mm,
you were designing the sets and figuring out what we were going to do for whatever kind of performance. So it was always fun to do all that stuff. So they had a great stage. I mean, because
mhm.
I see a lot. I don't know. I'm in elementary now with Giovanni, so I'm curious to see what some of the high schools are like. But
Yeah.
Newdorp had it was a new building back in the day, so it had a beautiful auditorium, great backstage. So there's a lot of stuff that you could do. So we were doing really cool sets, design and graphics. We had an art sale. The art teacher there, one of the art teachers, she was married to the other art teacher, another guy that was there. But it was great because she did more of a fine art approach, and his was I got to take photography. I knew in high
Oh,
school
nice.
how to change black and white film. I mean, you weren't doing that in high school. I was developing my own film in a dark room in high school and learning architecture because he had those degrees and he put specialized classes together. There was a auto department. The shop team was amazing. These guys rebuilt a
Yeah.
whole car. Like it was
Yeah,
just,
yeah. Yeah, we
like
did have that,
what
yeah.
happened to all that home economic shit? I was like, what? These guys are great. These guys built a car. Then they would like
Cook a pie.
yeah,
Cook a pie.
cook a
Bake
pie,
a pie.
make a birdhouse. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was wild. So I was really lucky that it felt a little bit more industrial because then they
Yeah,
were competing with at that time, I guess it's McKee. Do you
okay.
remember McKee? McKee High School is another one
Mm,
that specialized churning out engineers and guys that were doing really cool programs there. I One of the guys that I know, I was helping him out designing something for their solar car team or something.
okay.
Anyway, they build a car, they fly them to like I don't know Texas somewhere where they go in the middle of nowhere and they do racing with solar
Oh,
cars.
wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
That's
there's a lot of
crazy.
cool high schools in Staten Island back then, so I was pretty lucky that there was a lot of great art programs. I had
Damn.
one teacher that was teaching new well, I probably shouldn't even say this, but whatever. We had to sign a disclaimer. We did life drawing after school,
Mm,
and that's what helped me get my portfolio together for college.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had to draw them naked booties.
No, I'm telling you. And you were in high school. This is pretty scandalous.
Yeah, yeah, that is. Good segue though. So, where did you go to college?
So I went to the Fashion Institute of Technology in Manhattan, and it's 27th Street in the fashion district.
Wow, you're the 3rd alumni that I've interviewed who's been there.
Stop.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
That's great. What were their majors?
Fashion and,
Okay.
marketing and communications.
Oh, neat. All right,
Yeah.
advertising and design. So, That's pretty wild. And
Cool.
I think, when I went, long, long time ago, what was
Shh,
cool
shh. Don't tell
shh,
nobody.
don't tell nobody. But when I first started, the Macintosh was an upright shoebox that
Hmm.
was tan, right? The we had a lab, and we were the first ones to, be guinea pigs because they gave us, like 30 of those first generation Quark Express on there,
Mm.
all right? So we got to learn on these
Wow.
black and white, floppy, like, old school. Yeah, so what was really great was, I already knew how to work on the computer before I even graduated. So we were going into environments that they didn't even have the computers in there yet. They were still doing it old school.
Oh,
So that
got you, got you.
mhm. So I started at FIT. I needed the portfolio. That's why Nudope was great because the teacher knew what the students needed to have in their portfolios.
Right.
And that's what really helped you when you were having your portfolio reviewed because you have to get accepted into FIT. So I think
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
like they don't just accept everybody, but it's not super hard, but still you have to put time into that portfolio. So I had the life drawings, I had all these other cool like projects, perspective, we did
Mhm.
etching, I had photography, I had architecture in there. So you could just see I understood a lot more concepts than just a few things that some kids maybe didn't have that luxury in high school. They didn't have a lot of those classes. So
Yeah.
that helped me so much to then go to FIT, and then while we were in FIT, I don't know, just talk about great timing to have the computers just start to come out. Mac just exploded. That was it, and we got a whole bunch into that lab, and everybody from my class did well when we all graduated because we had that edge because we knew
Yeah.
how to jump in when everybody was just trying to catch up in any kind of in-house advertising environment.
Yeah. Wow, you were there for the max.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have a specific moment in college that really impacted you?
uh In college. Well, I guess I was, like, so excited that, I got my internship at MTV. So that was it. That was all in. Like, t talk about putting all the chips on one thing. I was like, "Listen, I'm gonna work at MTV or I'm not gonna work anywhere." And and it worked. You put that much power into the universe, dreams come true. And, yeah, so that was it. I was, hired before I even graduated, which was even better. So you had to do I did like a
That's
full
great.
year, so I was 6 months in, and they were like, "Okay, you're not going anywhere," and I'm like, "I don't wanna go anywhere. This is great. This is the best thing in the whole world?"
Wow, what was it like working there, fresh out of college?
Ah, God, exhilarating and terrifying as well because of that whole fear thing. Yeah, because I didn't really feel it because I was always like, "Listen, I'm a competitive athlete. We're about the team, and we're all in this together," as opposed to these isolated individuals, and I always tried to do that
Mhm.
in the environment. I'm like, "Listen, I we could lift each other up or we could just, like, point out the rotten apple in the group and figure this out?" So it
Yeah.
was always a challenge because there was a lot of personalities,
Oh, yeah.
and, there
Especially with artists.
oh
Yep.
my gosh, and they were from all over the world, you
Oh, yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah, that's it.
So that was pretty wild of, like, meeting all of these people from all over the world.
Mhm.
Like, my creative director was really cool, Dutch guy, and everybody just who was from Japan that I didn't know. Like, I'm from Staten Island. What the fuck did I know?
Yeah.
You know? Like, what I mean, it was good at FIT because I have, to this day, friends that are from Paris or from all over that we still keep in touch that were exchange
Nice.
students or just traveled here to do design but went back. But at MTV, that was wild to be working with people,
Yeah.
all over. It's crazy.
What's your favorite company you work for of all the years? Like,
Um,
what stands out to you?
I think well, MTV was cool, but
Mhm.
they didn't I would say Cartoon Network really showed me how how you should be treated as an executive. So that
Mm.
was pretty wild. So I left New York, I went to Miami, and I was working for Nickelodeon Latin America. And then I got recruited by the general manager and the vice president of marketing from Cartoon Network Latin America. So they flew from Atlanta to Miami. And real quick, crazy story, because this is how
Yeah,
they
go ahead.
recruited you back in the day, right? So they were like, okay, come on, we're staying at the Fountain Blue. Come on up to our hotel room. And I'm like, should I do that? Is that a good idea? Right. But it was a great idea. The
Oh
general
boy.
manager comes to the door with a guitar. He's like, hey, what's up, man? And I'm like, who is this guy? This guy's awesome. And then the hiring manager, the VP of marketing, he's just like, come on, come on. So basically was recruited because they were there for Promax BDA. So
Okay.
they were staying there. So that's how you just did a lot of networking back in the day. But
Yeah.
Cartoon Network from the jump treated me like, wow. They were like, we love you. Here's a plane ticket. We want to fly you up. Come to Atlanta. Great. Paid for everything, moving, signing bonus. Got you
Man.
in there. Worked for Ted Turner. Ted Turner believed in his athletes. He had TNT. He had ESPN. All these things were from Atlanta back in the day at Cartoon Network headquarters. You got season tickets to the Braves. You got like
Wow.
basketball. It was the best.
Living the
Paid.
life.
Oh my god, yeah. Atlanta traveling. I was working for Latin America. I was traveling business class throughout Latin America, Mexico, Brazil, Argentina.
Oh
It was a
wow, you got to
great job.
see
I
a
learned a
lot.
lot. I worked with some great people. Um, yeah, so Cartoon Network, but then 9/11, and I said I gotta go.
Mm.
And a lot of things were shifting. Uh, dot coms were taking off. We were struggling with figuring out how to do everything regionally. We were putting things back into Buenos Aires because it was cheaper to do animation and design. So it just got a little mucky. And then with 9/11, I was like, I got to go home.
Mm.
So that's when I came back to New York. Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Cartoon Network. I would never guessed them. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, when I was at MTV, when you're in 1515, you're around it was MTV, VH1, Nickelodeon. So you would go to the cafeteria, hang out with all your buddies, go to cool holiday party. You saw all these people, and I always loved Nickelodeon. Like
Yeah.
it was such I'm a kid at heart forever. And I always was attracted to it. And then when I was still working with MTV, then I was doing Liquid Television, which was kind of their answer to really after dark Eon Flux and really cool
Okay.
animation, dark, cool,
Yeah.
risque animation, uh, creature comforts, all these weird animation things. They didn't really have a home on a children's thing, but
True.
it was animation. So that's when that was all popping. So it was kind of neat to go to Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon because even at Cartoon Network they had Adult Swim. So
Yes.
there was always this really cool stuff to work on. And then to work with the Powerpuff Girls, Las Chicas Superpoderosas, and Dexter and Johnny Bravo and all these great characters.
Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo! Like it was
Love
a
it.
lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to make these guys do a lot of inappropriate things. Yeah, as cartoon characters. It was good.
Oh man. That's where
Yeah.
I got my start at Nick Jr.
Ah, see?
I was at the Art Institute in Philly and I got an internship at 1515. And as they say, Nick Jr. was the one who was open. So I was like, okay, let's do it. It was like eye opening, coming from
Yeah.
South Jersey and Philly and
Yeah.
interning in Times Square. It was so much fun. Um, wow, those are great stories.
Wow, but even with Nick Jr., the difference in learning how to design for children
Hmm.
it was mind blowing because I mean I enjoyed it so much that I played in that space even what I enjoyed consumer products and the
Hmm.
extensions. I worked on another TV show, an animation CGI. It was called Word World,
Okay.
and so it was a lot. We had to work with PBS, so I learned a lot from educators and developers because kids have to have things presented in a certain way. They need letter shapes that they can really read. You can get away with so much shit with adults with capital letters and illegibility and subliminal messaging, but You can't do that with some of these kids. You basic shapes, you have to do this, otherwise you're not hitting the mark. So it's wild because I know you went through a lot of like, I just want to make it this blue for Nick Jr. It's like, well, we need it to be this very specific blue.
Yeah, yeah. They all
Mm.
have their Bibles that you have to go by.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So listen, I'm motivated and inspired by people who overcome extreme adversity, right? You've given us some really great stories. I'd love for you to share one more, an underdog story that everyone can relate to, maybe be inspired by, where the odds were stacked against you and, you had to push through to come out on the other side.
Working for Latin America was really challenging because of many things, just different cultures, taboos, languages, and laughter gets you through everything, right? I got to lean into that one 100%. And I always cracked up when I uh I didn't understand what anybody was saying. So I would just like smile a lot. I'm like, "Oh, that's just going to get me through." And sure enough, my Spanish is horrible because everybody wanted to speak English with me because they were like, "Oh, you're from New York. We want to learn how to talk like we're from New York. We don't want to sound like we're from the Midwest. We want to sound like we're from New York." So, uh, I just had to really use my fear as my compass to get me through that, and to just keep laughing to really just know that we're all the same. We're just trying to communicate, and then it was just great to talk with people and see where they're coming from, and just travel and live and figure it out.
Yeah. Did you ever run into any issues trying to communicate with people where it didn't work out? You were just like, I can't, I don't understand.
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, and then you try everything: sign language, writing. Got really good at sketching things and stuff like that. But I have to say, when I traveled, it was definitely I was safe. I was working around people who were making sure that I wasn't going to get into a unsafe situation because it could be very dangerous, you know, traveling and you're not familiar and you can't communicate. But I was definitely always like, I had enough confidence that I could figure out how to talk my way or at least get to a place where I was going to be able to communicate with somebody, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. So, what did you learn from that experience?
Um, that, fear is your best compass, and to just always don't be afraid, even though you
Hmm.
have the fear, don't be afraid to just keep on pushing through, um, and feel confident. Because I think that's the biggest thing. I see people, because once people see that you're scared, that's when you're going to get taken advantage of. So just to always have that confidence of like, okay, it's a compass to have that fear, but you have to have the confidence to
Yeah.
keep pointing you in the right direction.
Oh,
Yeah.
love it. Thank you, Darlene, for sharing those stories.
Ah, you're welcome.
You've been through a lot. You've been in the industry for a long time, and I think so many younger artists will relate to this and look to you for advice. Basically,
Thanks.
I know I did when I was younger. I was always like, looking for answers. How can I do this better? What happens if I run into this issue? And you've touched on a lot of things. So thank you very much for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome. I remember when you were just, I don't know, I guess you were working on your first album at, dare I say, JC The Truth,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
A lot of people
And
don't know it. A lot of
oh
people
my
don't know it.
gosh, should we not say it then? All
No, you say
right.
whatever you want.
Listen, because there was some good stuff I remember, and because I'm going to share this story. So we were all working the sci-fi floor. I remember the little area that you sat in, had your white hoodie up, and I was like, I don't know what I was hearing, but I remember later hearing some of your work because I was like, hey, I used to work at Tommy Boy, and I love some of this sketch stuff that you're doing in here. And Prince Paul was doing this really cool stuff. So I worked on the album with not I didn't I'm not a musician. I just did the cover art for Prince Paul, Prince Among Thieves.
Hmm.
And it was so great because it was like a new direction that music was taking. It had more storytelling. It felt like it was
Yeah.
like a soundtrack to a movie that had snippets in it, and I just thought that that was really cool. So I remember us, or you were playing some of the skits in it, and because you had that cool stuff going on in it, but I was like, "This is some really cool stuff. What the fuck are you doing working here?" You look, I gotta pay the bills. I was like, "Okay, that makes sense."
Yeah.
But
Gotta pay the bills.
yeah, but it was really cool because music is so powerful and it connects so
Yeah,
many
yeah.
people. And I have to say, I just that's why I wanted to work at MTV, because I love music and
Yeah.
it's so important. And then to see videos and then to see what it became and then to see what it's not. It's just sad, but at the same time, it's really cool to have that. Yeah, right?
Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah,
is
it's
kinda sad.
bittersweet. Yeah.
It is, yeah. But hey, things are evolving and we'll see where it goes, right?
Mhm. It's true.
So let's move on to the quick questions game. So I borrowed this from James Lipton, Inside the Actor Studio on Bravo. Did you ever watch that?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that show.
Uh, I
And
like how he does it, and then, Vogue also does another rapid fire kind of 50 questions kinda thing.
yeah, yeah. I found this out from my acting coach. He was like, "You didn't steal that." He was like, "That's been around for."
Forever.
He's like,
Yeah.
he stole that from. He's like, he stole that from someone too. So don't worry about
Right,
it. I was
right,
like, all
right.
right.
It's like a zipper, honey. Everybody's got one. Yeah.
So yeah, rapid fire questions. There's 10 of them. I'll ask you questions. You can elaborate if you want to. But yeah, here we go. Here's the first one.
Okay.
All right. What's your favorite film or TV show?
I grew up with Star Wars, E.T., but during the holidays, it's Elf. I love every Christmas movie ever, and, yeah, I'll even watch the bad Hallmark ones, so that's a tough one, yeah.
Elf is great.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite actor or actress?
Um, I love Jennifer Lawrence and Angelina Jolie. I mean, I've always tough chicks doing cool, badass shit, but yet
Yeah.
delicate and tear jerk. They make me cry, and I just yeah. So I love their broad spectrum.
If you could pick any song to play every time you walked into a room, what would it be?
I'm gonna go with "Hit Me with Your Best Shot," Pat Benatar, because that was just always been a mantra since I was in high school and younger. I was like, yeah, that's it. Yeah, just a
Hit me
quick one.
with your best shot.
Yeah, fire away.
What's your favorite sound?
My favorite sound's got to be my son laughing. That's 100%.
What's your favorite smell?
My favorite smell. I don't know if you can. It's one smell, but it's just is Sunday dinner a smell?
Mm,
That's my favorite smell. Or just a home cook, like, when you walk in and you know somebody's been cooking something all day. It's just that as soon as you walk into a home and you smell cooking, that's my favorite smell.
love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's your favorite place to vacation?
Hawaii, hands down. Just, anywhere. I'll go anywhere in Hawaii. Yeah.
What's your favorite curse word?
Fuck. Fuck is fucking so universal. It's the fucking best fucking curse.
Oh man, everyone says that.
That's I don't know. I mean,
I
yeah.
haven't got anything.
Yeah.
Actually, one person said, I don't discriminate. I like all of them."
That's a good one,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
do have to share a unique one. God rest her soul, my mother-in-law, she would say, "You bitch bastard." She would call you, "You bitch bastard."
Oh man,
I don't know why. I was like, "That's it." Yeah, it's too funny.
the
Yeah.
BB, it kind of it
Yeah.
rhymes. You bitch. Yeah, yeah,
"You
I get it.
bitch bastard."
I get
Covers
it.
both, everything or whatever. Yeah.
And you could flip those two words too, right?
That's it. Bastard bitch. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Oh
But I
man,
do love we've been joking with Giovanni because, "Oh, you said a bad word,"
yeah,
so we're like, "Which would it be?" That's the other
yeah.
one.
My daughter's very good. At She's like, "Dad," I'm like, "You're right. I'm sorry."
Mhm.
That's my New Year's resolution, by the way. I have to stop cursing so much.
Cursing.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
bad.
that's hard.
Um, yeah. Who do you look up to?
I look up to God. I look
Mm.
up to my my big brothers that I've been looking up to my whole life, and, yeah, that's it.
Who's someone you would like to say thank you to?
Um I definitely would love to say thank you to my wife, who happens to be an art teacher, and then that
Mhm.
goes to all art teachers and teachers, because now that you're in this sweet zone of 1st grade, every teacher is important.
Yeah.
Every teacher and every yeah, everything that they can do, and yeah, so definitely, because 'cause we've been through a lot. We've been together for, like, 20 years, in and out of careers, jobs, apartments, homes,
Yeah.
babies, hospitals, you name it, states, travels, and, yeah, I mean, listen, it's not easy, that's why,
No.
alright? And I think the more you work for it, the more you appreciate it, because these people that think everything is disposable and
Mhm.
relationships, you keep on making the same mistakes with new people. I'm gonna fix myself and help us go forward so we could do more. So we really have been on a good journey together, so
That's good. That's the underdog story, you know? The more you work for it, the sweeter the taste, the victory, right?
Mhm.
The wins. My last question is, when you take your last breath and you arrive at the pearly white gates of heaven, what would you like to hear God say to you?
Oh my god, I would like him to say, "Jesus put in a good word for you, and welcome." That's
All
it.
right. Love it. Where's the best place for people to follow your journey and maybe contact you for work?
Oh, definitely just hit me up on Gmail. Dar did this. Dar did this at gmail.com.
And what's your website?
DarleneCordero.com. Check it out. And then you can find all my other information in there. At Dar did this, even on Instagram.
Awesome. Darlene, thank you so much for being here and sharing your story with us. This has been an Art and Underdogs podcast with Darlene Cordero. See you guys next time.